gonna find HDMI to VGA converter in the department. Somebody else borrowed it, and unfortunately, we have just one. And I will order one next week, and the problem will be solved. So, anyways, last week I got a question about developing triggers in the databases, in SQL databases, and you know that we studied triggers in one of the lectures, but the syntax of the triggers in that lecture is a bit different from triggers that we have in SQL Server and also Oracle. We'll talk about this with a few examples today, and later on we will explore more. Before that, I would like to slow computer, isn't it?
That's my problem. It's very small.
Okay, suppose that we want to check the script of the. One more point is that if you want to write a select query or insert query or drop update query or delete, you can easily use the right click on the table and go and use the automatic script generators of the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. For example, if I want to see the rows of the table I selected, I will go to the select part and I will create select query. This is the template for the select query. For example, if we want to see values for an employee, you can see over here. If I execute this query, the records of the employee will be shown. Okay. Before something was related to if you want to get the script that the execution of the script creates the same table, you can go and select create to a script, and also you can either show it in the new query editor window, or you can export it to a file or save it as a clipboard. So let me choose a simple table. Okay, this is the script that if you execute this script, the table will be created. Okay, this table address will be created. Okay. You know that you can either create index as a separate query or create index at the end of the create table. You can specify what kind of index you want to have on the table. Okay, so when you are creating an index, there are some parameters you can check. For example, you can specify what kind of index you want to add, and the index you can specify it can be sorting ascending or descending. So when we are choosing ascending source, when we are choosing descending source for the index. the table, the B plus 3 I showed you, it was ascending, right? It was starting from the Judy, blah, 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 going to reconvince. So in some cases we need descending. Why? If most of the queries are interested in the descending order, then descending will be better. Okay? But for the range queries, doesn't matter, ascending or descending. For the sequence, for equality search, doesn't matter. But if all of the joins we have, most of the select queries we have or reports we are generating is from descending, then it's better to have descending, right? So this is the order that you are creating. So there is a pad index over here, and you don't see fill factor, right? Okay, so there is a fill factor you can specify. I don't remember where in this create index you specify. If you go to the syntax of the create index, you can show where fill factor can be specified. What is this fill factor? We talked about B plus 3. That's phi. You remember the phi?
Yeah,
The phi.
the
We were using half of the phi in the B plus 3 nodes, right? This half of the B plus 3 is usually, so this half of the nodes or leaves should be empty, okay? So this fill factor is referring to that one, and you can specify it. I can, so there are other options for the indexes. You can check, for example, pad indexes, the padding in the nodes. When you are specifying fill factor and the padding index is off, it means that the nodes of the B plus 3, the node intermediate node, not the leaves, are not keeping some parts free. Okay? They keep all of the nodes as full as possible. Then the tree will be very dense, and the tree will not be very good for updating. But if you keep this pad index on, then in the nodes also, the fill factor you specify will be followed. So there is also ignore duplicate key. For example, if you have duplicates and you are doing the index on the if you have duplicates and you are indexing on the primary key, in the index level you are ignoring it. If in duplicate key is ignore duplicate key is on. It means that if you have an index entry duplicated, then you put the second index entry also to the indexes, for example. Other types of there is also a statistics recompute, or here the statistics no recompute is off. It means that always it changes statistics of the indexes we need for query processing.
what is statistics of
The statistics of the index. Okay. For example, the ratio that, for example, you are not, I talked about lazy updating of the index, right? You are not always updating the index as soon as you are getting an update, okay? So you check this statistics and you decide when or some frequency that you need to update the indexes, how frequent you are getting updates and all of those stuff. This is the computation of the statistics for indexes. Statistics are also computed for the purpose of the query processing. So for the query processing, if you have an index and some part of the index is usually, for example, you have a B plus 3 and some part of the B plus 3 is usually must access. For example, computer science students are violating a lot of regulations, then this department is usually searching for computer science students. Those students are falling in some part of the tree. If you keep the statistics of that tree, then you know that some part of the tree is usually accessed, then usually keep those pages inside of the memory. These kinds of improvements are usually happening. Blocking also is a top of the is related to transactions. We will talk about topics and so on. And all of these constraints of the indexing fields are happening on the primary key. And so, okay, so let's work on the question your colleague had last maybe about triggers. The example I solved, how many people checked the video for the trigger I put on the canvas? Today morning, I put 5 a.m. The other part of the class, nobody checked the video? Okay. So what was the topic of the trigger? We were looking for human. The interesting part was we have this marital status, okay? If suppose that the company is pro marriage, okay? The company is against marriage. Suppose that, and whoever wants to marry and change the status from single to married, then the company they are interested to write a trigger to pride with the person, you know, saying okay, don't do that. You're ruining your life. But suppose that you want to write a trigger prohibiting the object from the single to married. Okay. Now, here, for example, in the employee table, as you see, we have this marital status, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going to triggers. There is a trigger over here. The computer is very fast. But it's not as fast as. Sorry, I'm appreciating that you gave the computer to us to have this class. Was just kidding. So suppose that you are creating a new trigger. Okay. I put the name of the trigger. Okay. So when you select the create trigger, one template will be provided to you from the SQL Server. Okay. In the table, in the template, you see some familiar, some known instructions. One of them was create trigger. Create trigger, the name of the trigger on some tables after or before some actions, right? This was the trigger. If you go to the lectures, you will see this was the concept of the triggers. Okay, so the first parameter after the create trigger is what? Is the name of the trigger. I will choose the name of the trigger. No divorce, for example, or no wedding. Which table this trigger should work on? Employee table. So let's drag over here. Okay, we want to this trigger to. We can write insert and delete triggers as well, but inserting and deleting in this database may not happen because there are a lot of constraints, foreign constraints. I don't want to bother I don't want to waste our time to figure out what kind of constraints we have to resolve. But let's talk about just update queries. After update, do what?
Marital status.
If after updating, if the
No, before update, because like after updating,
you can also try rollback the transaction.
but that is not efficient.
Safe.
You can put it different. Okay, no. Instead of before, here we have the word instead of. You can in SQL Server instead of before you are using instead of. You don't have keyword. You don't have before. Okay, the syntax is a little bit different, but let's have this bit after, because instead of you usually use to change the transaction from, we can abort the transaction before that, but we also have the option to roll back the transaction. Okay, if what? If the status is married, if the updated person, the status is married. Okay, so we want to check the new record has the status of married, or the new, or what we are changing has the new status of married. So what we are doing is we are going to write a select query to check what is inserted or what is deleted. Okay. Okay, the person should be originally single. And if selecting, what's the field? Marital status. From what? If all the data was married, was the old guy, the data we had was married, was single. Okay? There are, when you are writing triggers, there will be two more tables available to you. One is, you can assume two more tables, or two tables with the same schema, but you don't have it physically. One is deleted, one is inserted. The deleted is the record. Those records you are taking from the table. Inserted is the records you are adding to the table, or as a result of the update, the new records, the new values of the records you get. Okay? So, in the case of the update, the previous record, the records you selected to change are deleted, the new values for them are inserted. For the insert queries, we do not have any deleted, we have just inserted. For delete queries, we have just deleted. Okay? If the person is single, suppose, okay, we need to add, I need to add one more condition. I will skip this. I need to add one. Then we need to put instructions for this. So
You're
you
saying
mean
the deleted means the table before update.
the value of the records before update.
Before update, the value.
Just not the whole table. The records affected before
only
update.
the records.
Only the records affected before the update. Okay? So suppose that we want to print some messages. We want to print some messages. In fact, I need to add one more condition here. What's the other condition? What is the other condition?
From the inserter, it
The
should
new
be-
person
It should be young.
should be married. Okay. Okay, so we want to say congratulations to that person.
So suppose if you want to roll back, what point to?
If you want to roll back, you will use roll back transaction. I will use this later. Show you. For now, okay. Now I want to. First of all, I can save this trigger in a file and I will keep it for my future uses, further uses, but it's not required. So what I'm doing is basically, first of all, in order to enable the trigger, you have to execute it. So when you execute it, it shows that the trigger was correct. Okay? So if the trigger was executed, then here I need to what's the table? Employees. Now the trigger is added here. Okay? If you right click on the trigger, you can modify the trigger. You see that the trigger, when you execute the trigger becomes enabled. Okay? So if you want to disable the trigger, you can disable the trigger from here. Now let's test the trigger. If we execute this query, select query. Let's find the person. Oh, this is create table. Sorry. Okay, so let's find the single person. Okay, the first person is single, right? Now I want to update this. Business entity was, we need to set what? We need to set marital status to married. This will be unchanged. Okay, so give me the search condition for this update, insert query, update query. Let me say, we want to change the first person. Single, want to change it to married. Nobody wants to contribute, nobody wants to tell anything. Anyone follows me? Give me the where condition. I want to
Business entity ID is equal
Business
to
entity
1.
ID is equal to 1.
Okay.
Okay, now if I execute this, the trigger will be executed and the congratulations will be shown as the message output. Okay. Modify this trigger. If he is married and wants to be single, now if I go and execute the update that I have, if I execute this one, what will happen? Anyone follows? What will happen?
Congratulations has been printed before
And it will be again back the one
Yeah,
will have
remove
amount.
the function, but
One will be
I
married.
added rollback to this, and the transaction is rollback. Transaction ended in trigger, the batch has been aborted. It means that the transaction has not been executed.
Can you open the trigger again?
So the person is still the marital status will be M1 in the married, is it?
What?
The marital status will be
Here, this transaction, this is the trigger. So I change it from if it wants to change from married to single, then automatically.
Can you show me the marital status of that person?
What?
Marital status of the person now.
Marriage status of that person?
Yes.
Marriage status of that person. Now he's married. From married to single, I aborted the transaction. So, okay, I would like to give you, you have 10 minutes. I would like to have, okay, let's have a practice on the triggers. Let me check one of the tables. insert add a trigger to table production culture. Table is very small. Okay, to prohibit inserting any Indian language, IN. If the culture ID is IN and the name of the is Indian, then it doesn't let to be added. Prohibit all the insertions of the culture Indian. Try to trigger prohibiting to insert any row with the Indian in this table.
You don't have any.
No, we don't.
Any culture ID.
I mean name, I think. Name should not be India.
Name, you choose name, but you choose culture ID as IN, and check if the culture ID has IN for the inserted then. Just, you need 4 minutes to write this. Harinder, you want to write this here? You want to?
I see.
Ask for this when you have to stop the certificate.
No.
Okay, instead of Indian, use Iranian. IR. Instead of Indian, use Iranian.
Still in the installation stage. Just learning what to do.
It's the same SQL.
What?
Same SQL. The same trigger.
No.
Almost the same. The inserted, if it is
Okay, these are DML triggers, right? Data manipulation language. Okay? These are DDL triggers. The DML triggers are very similar to each other. But it's changed. It's different from for the instead of insert, you have insert update, you have to use insert and all those.
instead of complete, insert.
Yeah, because we are
Instead of S, give IR. That's it.
right. So triggers are very simple.
Last time it was.
What's the function in the SQL Server? Anyone knows? Today function.
Get data. Get data.
Perfect.
Ah,
And okay, this is it. Is there any purpose? Now, I had another report. Okay, so So you saw that I rolled back the old transaction, okay? So let's say we want to change it from the row transaction level to row level. You remember that we talked about this. Triggers could affect each row the transaction is changing, either each row or the whole transaction. Okay. So change the trigger I wrote here to affect just the row that is affecting the transaction. You can look for the answer in the internet. Try it, please. This is the trigger I wrote. This is the trigger we have. Write the trigger and just check how you can change it from transaction level to row level. you read this?
No.
Trigger for this. I would like to see you trying at this to the question or the question. Okay, the query, the first query I ask you is very simple. Just change it. If you don't find the answer in the internet, I'll let you know in a few minutes. Just if you cannot write this first query, just try in the second query. I would like I'm asking you to write a query before leaving this class.
So can you just
readable.
first can you
So I
just
asked you, and if somebody told me that they can read it.
can you switch off the projector and write on the board?
You can read it.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, you can read it, right?
Insert or update. Or update.
Insert or update. For any insert or update, just check if the minimum of the culture ID is changing. Okay, then it should show or print the culture ID.
What is the minimum of culture ID? Culture IDs are like, it's literals, right? What is the minimum of that?
It's two characters, right? Characters can be ordered lexicographically, right?
Alphabetical order.
Yeah, it's like dictionary. IR is before then, for example, IS, right? You can sort strings, you cannot? Okay, so there is no excuse to find, oh, you don't have copy either, sorry. Other people, everyone except Panindra should try on this. How many people have SQL Server on their computer now? Everyone, right? Good. So let's try. Before moving out of the class, I got complaints from the distance learning people that they cannot, the video quality is not very good, quality of video. So I have this new method of recording, you know. I know that you don't care if you see me or not. I'd like to see you, but however, I will put some makeup videos or videos of the next lecture online, such that I am just explaining on my screen, the screen of my computer. How many people checked the previous videos, makeup videos? Oh, you saw that. Was it good or bad?
It was good.
So, why is it good? Because it was more clear and also I could write on the. I really like that feature that I could write on the lecture notes. So I will put the videos in that way. Probably in just 1 hour video. The software I have has this limit of 10 minutes maximum of recording. I have to merge the videos later. So you can either use those videos to learn before coming to class. The class will also record it, and distance learning people can have both of them. You know, can have interactive class videos and also just one-way videos. So next Thursday will be our midterm exam. The exam will be very easy. queries like this one. And you know that everyone is writing queries like triggers, like developing triggers, simple triggers.
Only queries or?
Triggers, queries, whatever.
Professor,
In exam,
The
what?
slides, anything from the slides, like the B plus 3 or something like that.
Oh, by the way, and anything about B plus series and also all of those stuff, you learn how to choose an index, right? I will probably give you a query and a schema of a table and ask you to choose the best index for this one. This will be a multiple choice question, okay?
There will be
So
some questions.
if the questions have been so a few minutes ago, definitely those type of questions before 3 p.m. right?
Some coding, some questions you're saying?
Some queries, some questions, yes. The number of questions will be, we have 6 or 10 questions and 5 queries per hour. And if,
How?
what?
Questions like we have to write them or?
Queries, you have to have your computer installed MySQL and SQL Server, okay?
And my
Both
SQL
is-
is that for exam?
Why
You know, MySQL is nothing, right? It's just a text editor, you just enter your, MySQL is nothing, you are turning on the skill of writing queries, you know, distinguishing which table should be joined to which table, you know, these are general knowledge, you know, as long as you can write a query, you can write a query on Oracle, MySQL, SQL, nothing matters. So because we have more tables in the SQL Server, I would like to have more tricky questions for SQL Server, but some simple questions for MySQL employee database in order to make sure that everyone at least can come up with some solutions, okay? The questions we will have in the class, in the exam will be similar to what we had in the class, okay? You remember for the MySQL, how many questions? We had 8 or 9 questions for MySQL. I will post some example queries for MySQL and SQL Server, queries that you can practice at home in the next 2 days, or ask your friends and check the results at home. But the good thing about writing queries is that if you have an error, you can get the feedback over there and just realize that, similar to what we had in the Java class, okay? But I would like to ask you, please do not share your solutions with other people. You know, it's not very good. It's very bad if you share your solutions with other people through email, chatting, or text messaging, or something like that. You know that the queries are very short. You can text it, I know, but please do not do that. And this is the only thing that I have to. Any questions for the exam?
next Thursday, right? Not this Thursday.
All will be on
Next week Thursday.
Canvas exam or on paper is
Oh, the exam, the written part will be on Canvas. Definitely on Canvas.
what? Like the same questions like this professor, like you give some query and some part we have to write the part and all.
Yeah, the whole exam will be on Canvas. Some of them will be multiple choice.
Okay.
Some of them will be filling the part. Some of them will be writing the whole query. The part that you are writing the whole query, I can check it on your computer, saying that it's correct or not, and you can fix it or not. Okay? And then you upload it. So, but definitely you will have questions about physical instructions. Okay. Questions about indexes.
How many total questions?
Hmm?
Total questions will be 15.
Just 15 or 15, but 15 questions. You said my exam was very easy, right? So the exam will be this Thursday or next Thursday?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Okay, next, okay. So if it is on this, it's not on this Thursday. Let's move on to talk about query processing. Right?
Professor, next Thursday, right?
Okay, on Thursday I will talk about query processing. You will find the
This Thursday or
Next Thursday.
Next.
Thursday. But query processing will be included in that. How many people wrote the query? I asked you. How many people wrote the trigger? I asked you. Because I asked Vanessa to write the trigger.
Paper.
There.
The packet is back.
Okay, here are the other class. Have you tried on the trigger I asked you? This one, or I did the previous one?
I have tried, but
Okay, let's see. Whoever has tried can come and ask questions.